Welcome to Live with Sirus Migration. We bring all the latest and greatest migration updates to you every second Thursday. And if it's come anytime earlier, it'll be through our channels, which brings you to remind that if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, hit that subscribe button, or if you're coming through Facebook, hit the like button, follow us. So all the latest news, you will hear it with all the facts and explanations as it happens right then and there. My name is Riyap. I'm an Australian registered migration agent, and I've got Ashani right next to me. She's also an Australian registered migration agent, and we're going to be talking about all these latest changes. But this event is purely for you if you're interested in migrating to Australia, or if you're wanting to listen to any or clarify any of these latest changes and updates. And if you want to know how it's going to relate it to you, this event is for you. We're going to be talking about a few topics that's about this new changes. But if you have any questions, or if you want to clarify any of the information that we're going to be talking about or that we talked about, please type your question in the comment box right below. Whether you're coming through YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok, just put it on your comment box. If we get to hear it or see it during this live session, we're going to be answering your questions right there and there as soon as we get through the information session. So we got quite a few news that we want to talk to you about. We have already spoken to you throughout short videos from Facebook and YouTube. So what are we going to talk first?
First one, I think we are going to talk about your visit to
QUT. I thought we were going to be talking about it at the end, but I mean, it's Mario's decision. So yeah, we had a great visit to QUT, Queensland University of Technology, one of the well-respected universities located right in the middle of Queensland, Brisbane City, and they have a Kelvin-Grove branch as well. I like the university better than anything else because that's where we started our journey as well. So brought up a lot of memories. We visited many laboratories, spoken to many faculty heads and professors during the visits, and we talked about the latest updates, the innovative courses that they bring out. I did a video this morning, and all the information in this, I don't know how you're going to see it, it's in the actual YouTube channel itself, and Mario's going to put the direct link in the comment section as well once you hit it.
There are some scholarships in from QUT?
Absolutely, they're going to be there'll be scholarships depending on your education background. But something we learned through this journey, I couldn't believe how good and innovative and complicated, but it's nicely presented in IT faculty where I studied the S block. They have Australia's biggest or the best robotic and artificial intelligence laboratory, and the cool stuff that they showed me, I really wanted to go and do my master's right there and there. And then we visited the structural engineering faculty, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on that laser cutting machine. That was the best thing I've gotten to see. So they exploring it, and also then we went to the scary part where they had the largest the laboratory for all the fun stuff like science laboratory. They had multiple disciplines there, and they had this cool stuff where you can do your experiments within one table, but even if you're close to each other, they had virtual sound barriers. Even the next table couldn't hear it. So that sort of things. QUT came up with some magnificent, in my opinion, and well-needed master's degrees. And I'm talking about those master's degrees in this video. Just have a look. and see how you like it as well. And I couldn't put enough videos and photos. We were restricted from taking some of the photos of the latest robots that they're working on and stuff. But the thing is, I couldn't appreciate enough the way they picked up these unique master's degrees, which are really suiting to current requirements and current latest
and the future needs of Australia and
yeah,
where Australia is heading.
I mean, this, I think 2020 to 2030 decade is a significant time period where we're going through lots of changes, and the job need for next decade is going to be significantly different.
Yeah.
And also, Queensland being the next host for Olympic in 2032. A lot of things are happening right here, right there. I know there's a lot of restrictions around non-genuine students, etc. But if your dream is to get to where you really want, and you want to be the really cool person, or that dream, you want to do that dream job doing what you like doing, I think that's the place. I couldn't, just me going through the faculties, I really felt like I really want to go back and study again, and the smell of that library books gave me a lot of stressful but sweet memories. And then I just thought, if I was to study my another master's again, I wanted to think what I'm going to be studying. But then again, I was confused, and I really wanted to, like, you know how little kids, when they see all the sweets, they're struggling to decide what to pick. I was like that, because I wanted to do the robotics when they went there, and I really appreciated like what sort of experiments that they're doing and the researchers. And then the same thing happened when they go to the structural parts. So let's move on to the other parts.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. Please watch Sirus video. You can learn all about it, and maybe go and start your masters in KUT.
And especially if you go into masters in research, you know what's
then let's
Australia's
move to that news. Yes.
What Australia's got to offer you right now.
That's right. So there is some news released about subclass 485.
Subclass 485. Everyone's talking about subclass 485. We call it temporary residence. Some people call it post-study work visa, graduate visa.
Yeah.
So this is the visa that people get to experience, or you get to lodge after they complete their final studies in Australia. Once a lifetime visa. Yeah. You can only apply for this visa once you complete, once in your lifetime. And there were some protocols. The previous age was 45, up to 45.
It's 50.
Some age, 50. And then they still have restrictions. You have to complete a degree in Australia, or a course in Australia, which is CRICOS registered, and you have to be in a student visa.
Minimum
2 years CRICOS registered, and then you have to apply for this visa within 6 months of completing your course as well. Now the changes were
now they said earlier with the changes, they said if all the students, the age cutoff is 35. By the time you're applying for your 485 from 1st of July, if you're 35 or above, you're not eligible. But then again, they went and changed it, I think earlier this week, to say that if you're studying Masters by Research, or if you're studying PhD, your age cutoff for subclass 485 will remain at 50. So until you're 50 years of age, you're still eligible. But if you're studying Masters or Bachelor's degree or diploma in a trade, you have to be under 35 years of age if you want to get this 485 visa at the end of your student visa. So if you're someone who's 35 and above and studying diploma, bachelor's or master's, you cannot stay in Australia after your student visa lodging a subclass 485. So you need to look for other options if you want to stay here further.
If you want to discuss what options are available, welcome for you to set up an appointment with us, so we can be specific about your own circumstances, because one person to the other it changes.
Yeah, and Sanjana is asking an important question. With the recent changes in employer-sponsored visa category, what is the PR pathway for subclass 482 employees? I did a video just today, which will come out very soon. So from November last year, people who are on medium to long-term list or short-term list occupations are still eligible for 186 visa after 2 years of working for your employer. So that is the PR pathway for 482 employees.
482 is the work visa, temporary skill shortage work visa. So once you work for the employer for 3 years, normally you get to go through the TRT pathway to 186. But with the recent changes, after working for the employer for 2 years, you can apply for permanent residency.
Yeah, so I hope that answered your questions. Then maybe I've got Harsha again asking.
Harshpand is from YouTube.
Yeah, my daughter is studying clinical psychology in Australia. How much chance for PR?
So
she's
the good thing is she's in the health industry.
Yeah.
She's studying bachelor's degree. I guess her age is she's quite under 35,
yeah.
And she's doing well with the studies. So health industry's got prominent chances to go into permanent residency after completing, if she wishes to do so. And also clinical psychology, you need the one very important thing is you need to understand what is the registration requirements are. So she needs to complete the degree 21. Yeah, she's very young.
Time.
So
yeah.
She's got plenty of time. She needs to just concentrate on her studies, complete the degree properly, understand where the registration requirements are, and then
skills assessment, and then plan her PR pathway. But I think it's very important to plan it properly, so she gets the 485 at the right stage, because as Isuru said, it's just once in a lifetime. So just closing to her studies, maybe when there's 6 months left, it's a good idea to get in touch with the migration agent or get in touch with us. Happy to have a chat and plan her PR pathway well in advance, so she's not wasting her 485 visa.
And also one great thing about your daughter's studies in Australia, Harsh, majority of the courses are well recognized in relevant certain countries with Australia. So Australia, UK has trade agreement, and New Zealand, of course. So and Singapore and Canada. So once your daughter complete her bachelor's degree and get the registration in Australia, she can not only practice her registration in Australia, she can also practice her duties in New Zealand, Singapore, UK, in well-recognized countries around the world as well. And if she's willing to go further with permanent residency, of course she's got many options available too.
Hevit is asking, just curious, for MBBS foreign graduate doctor, what do you think is the most preferred way to make it to Australia? Depends on which country you graduated from, because some countries' qualifications are more recognizable, and depending on the country, the pathway differs.
Country and the university and the course,
yeah.
Depending on where it's recognized. The first thing is you need to demonstrate your English experience. So let's start again. Once you complete the degree, you need to go through that intern program and get your registration. And then you need to go through your English, and then you need to, like, if you wanting to come change it to Australia or get the registration to Australia, AMC1, you can do it while you're overseas, but your sounds like you're coming from Sri Lanka. So if you're done your MBBS in Sri Lanka, you can do your AMC1 in Singapore,
yeah.
And then AMC2 you have to come to Australia. And then you need to figure out which pathway is the quickest and best and what you want to be. There are quicker pathways for medicine and faster pathways, and there are many ways to get to medicine here. Or you might consider studying something further while doing AMC2.
He's already got the English, he's got the IELTS.
Very good.
Yeah.
So AMC 1, 2, and you might want to consider coming for
graduate from China.
Okay. Depending on the course at the
university, the pathway can be different, but most doctors do the AMC1 and find a hospital to come and do their training under 482 visa. So
some people look for a master's degree, and then during the master's degree they get to do the AMC1 or 2. I mean, in a quicker note, if you were to do AMC1 first and then come here, study and do AMC2 while you're doing it, that'll be even better, because you need to be there in person to do it.
That's right. Okay,
so there are many pathways.
Rashmi is asking, I'm a registered nurse in Sri Lanka. I know that it's difficult to skill migrate. If I get my NCLEX and OSCE exam certifications from outside Sri Lanka, can I apply?
So, Rashmi, good question. Actually, the answer depends on what's your background, current studies, English, and how all those going to be satisfying NMAC. So for nurses, you must get your NMAC registration, and then for that, sometimes majority of time they'll look at your application and they'll say you need to fulfill these subjects or redo these subjects. You might not have to do the full degree, but you'll have to study part of the degree and then apply for a registered nurse. Then you're ready for either employee nominated scheme or general skill migration. You can do either one of them through there.
And Milindu's asking, firstly saying thank you for the session. I have some
Thank you for appreciation, Melinda.
I'm a quantity surveyor with bachelor's. My girlfriend doing her master's in Australia, but I'm trying to go with work visa. So what will be the best way for me, dependent or work visa? What I think is you come to Australia as a dependent, then you apply for a job. If your girlfriend's studying masters, you'll get full-time work rights. I have had quite a few quantity surveys actually here on different visas. It's easy it's not too difficult for them to find a job. Once you find a job, then you can talk to your employer and get a employer sponsored visa.
Yeah, so the employers
because
are at times hesitant.
Easier.
It's much easier to do it onshore than offshore.
Yes.
But
if you have already found an employer, then you don't need to come here.
Correct. And so if you find a employer, best way is to come through 482 or 186 directly. 482 is very quick, so you can come in at 482, and if you're qualified enough, you can turn it to a 186 permanent visa as soon as possible, rather than waiting for 2-3 years. Getting the dependent visa these days can be tricky, depending on what your girlfriend's studying and how old you. What's your background, the financial and economic ties, and other family ties back home as well. So it all depends. Again, happy to have a chat in person.
Yeah. We've got Tisum asking, I have a high national diploma in civil engineering with 8 years experience. Would I be able to get a skills assessment to apply skill migration, or do I need a bachelor's degree? So
civil engineers, you can go as a civil engineering technician or a civil draft person, depending on your qualification again and what have you been doing. You will not be able to go as a civil engineer, but civil engineer, draft person, and technician also in competitive list. You'll have to get a couple of CDR reports done in order to get your skills assessment, because majority of the offshore advanced diploma programs are not accredited, or they're not Washington or Sydney Accord. So the question is, you have 8+ years work experience, which gives you 15 points directly. So Tisum, you have good background.
Prospects. Yeah, get in touch. We'll give you a consultation. That way we can look at your CV, so we can get much more insight, and then we can advise you. Hevit is asking, what's a master's degree you suggest? Hevit, why don't you get in touch with us? Happy to offer you a free consultation to help you pick the masters, maybe
quite
from
a few
QUT.
options. There are quite a few, and these days, depending on your age and stuff, you can consider what will be the best suited master's degree, be in touch with us directly, and we'll, myself or Shani, we will offer you a free initial consultation so we can go through your background and find the best solution for you. Is it?
Yeah, I think before we go to other questions, let's talk about, is it global talent? What's next? TISMIT. Yes, there's some other news that came. So this is all regards to work visa, nothing to do with skill migration. Sometimes people panic, is this to do with skill migration? No. This TISMIT is called Temporary Skill Migration Income Threshold. So that is the minimum salary that has to be offered if you want to apply for an Australian work visa. It used to be 55,000. It went up to
53,900 to 70,000. Now it's 73,100.
73,150.
I know my numbers.
So that happens from 1st of July. So if you're going to lodge your nomination, people who know what I'm talking about will mostly be knowing what this is about. So if your nomination has not been lodged, and if it's going to be after 1st of July, people might have to advertise again if they advertise for 70,000, because this TISMIT is going up to be 73,000.
If you're in the 482 process, you know what we're talking about. If you're not, when you get a job offer to come and work in Australia, you need to be offered a minimum wage that's used to be 53,900. Now it's gone to 70,000. Now from 1st of July, it's going up again to 73,150. So because you have to go through market salary research and advertising, so you need to be mindful that your numbers has increased, and you have to be check your eligibility again before you advertise and look into it, because market salary doesn't mean what you advertise for, what you've been offered. They have to consider what other people in the workplace are getting paid as well. So if you're sponsoring, or if you've been sponsored, please be in touch. Then we can clarify further.
Yeah, we've got Jessie asking, applied for 186 last year, end of June, still waiting. Any guess how long it will take maximum? I think you are very close to getting it granted. So your 1 year is coming close, and that's about the processing time right now. So if you haven't done your medicals, if you haven't done your police clearance, and they expire as well. So look into it, get them done. Upload them into the system, so the case officer doesn't have to come back to you asking for these things, and it'll be a direct grant.
Malsha Randani is coming from Facebook. Good to see you, Malsha.
Okay, we've got some other news about Pacific Engagement Visa. Registrations are open for the ballot.
If you're coming from PNG, Fiji, Solomon Island in the Pacific Rim, this is for you. This is a first time ever lottery opportunity for you. It's a lottery, especially for Pacific Islanders. So if you're coming from Pacific Island, for the first time in the history, Australia's offering an opportunity for 3,000 places, and each country's got their own cap. The biggest cap's given to our brothers and sisters from PNG, Papua New Guinea, 1,300 places. So from on 2nd of June, there is somewhat like a lottery system where you can enter yourself into this, as long as you're within the protocols. You have to be within the age limit of 18 to 45 pretty much, and be a holder of that country and be born in that country. Then you can be participating. The process is quite straightforward. A lot of people have seeked our support to apply for this, because it's not just only winning the lottery, going through the paperwork too. Just to simplify, if you're coming from Pacific, if you need any support, please register with us as soon as possible, because this Sunday the lottery is going to be opening, and you never know, you'll be the lucky winner for Australian permanent residency very soon. So be in touch if you're coming from Pacific Island. There's a very good opportunity for you to get to permanent residency in Australia.
Okay, what's next?
Global talent it is. So global talent's going to shine bright by the sound
but
of
before
it.
we start, I got an invitation for a global talent visa again
Health
through
industries.
priority
Health industries.
priority process. It's a doctor who's making a difference in people's lives. He's doing great work in regional New South Wales, I think. So yeah, so happy to receive that invitation.
I just saw it, and it's job well done. So if you're coming from, if you're a global talent, is a wonderful opportunity for talented people,
yes,
and prominent people in their industry. So Australia's given opportunities for and divided the industries into 10 different industries. So if they call it target sectors. If you are a prominent person in any of those 10 target sectors, indicatively making a higher income, indication right now is 167,500. This changes on 1st of July. So a lot of people, 1st of July is coming up, so hurry up before the CPI increase comes for the high income threshold. So if you're coming from any of those, this is a special opportunity for you to go to permanent residency directly. No English is mandatory, and there is no skill assessment needed.
Or qualification even. As long as you justify your prominence in the field and the changes or the difference you can make to Australian different sectors and the job opportunities you can create, you can be eligible for this visa. I heard that the visa is going to change later this year. I think it's going to combine with the
business visa category, which is going to be very good.
I'm very interested to see what the new changes are going to be, and I can already feel that this is going to bring many opportunities for not just professionals but also entrepreneurs and talented business people. So can't wait for that information to come through, and hopefully we'll be the first to share it with you and lodging many applications.
There are a lot of Australian migration regulations and information changes quite dynamically these days. So if you are interested in understanding the new changes and get to know how it relates to you, and if you want to get honest opinion, I highly recommend you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be in touch with us regularly so we can update you as it comes out.
Mond is asking a question. Hi, thanks for the insightful session. My cousin arrived 6 months ago with 500 visa. Is looking to extend the visa for at least 2 more years. He's 41 years old. Do you think this will be an issue?
In my opinion,
you need to check.
It depends. What's the background? Where your citizenship, what's your intention to study, what's the background, and why you want to extend another 2 years when you're 41. So it depends on the full pathway and the full setup.
Yeah. We have a dedicated team of education expert.
Absolutely.
Who can look at this scenario and comment yes or no, and we can help you throughout the whole process of enrollment and student visa.
We research education pathways every day. Education pathways, we do not recommend a course just because someone wants to come and get permanent residency or just want to register from one university to the other. When someone come and ask us about a course or enrollment, we do the research tailor-made to you. So I would recommend have a chat with us in relation to this background, and we will get you a good guidance and good background, good suggestion on how to go about it next.
Yeah, Milindu is asking, if I go with work visa, Milindu texted us before as a quantity survey, what qualifications do I need to complete? I mean, how much experience is required? Also, how many documents like pay slips are required? So
good
I think
question.
we'll
That
take
covers
this opportunity and talk about the employee-nominated visa. So the visa subclass you're looking at could be 2. One could be 482 or the other one could be 186. So, or it could be 494, depending on where the employer
quantity survey, let's stick to 482 and 186 for the time being.
Yeah.
482 requires you 2 years of work experience.
That's right. It could be during qualification, before qualification, or after. whereas 186 needs the qualification you need, by the way, it's a bachelor's degree
or 5 years
5
of
years
work
of work
experience.
experience. But for 186, you need a qualification plus 3 years of full-time work experience, and you also need a skills assessment. And quantity surveys need registration, so they have to go through what's called qualification assessment and work experience assessment. And it's a straightforward process that you can go through to obtain the registration and the skills assessment. So, and there are many other documents that you need as well. If you already have an employer, happy to have a chat with you as well as the employer to explain both sides of what you need. Yeah.
And 482, your English requirement is vocational, which is IELTS 5 in each band, or PT 36, whereas 186 you're required to have competent English, which is IELTS 6 in each band or PT 15 in each band. No points tests are required, so you just need to fulfill your work experience, qualification, and English requirement.
Mond is saying thanks. We are worried about the age limits.
Don't worry about the age limit, Mon.
There is
as
no
long
such
as you,
limit for student visa yet.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on
Legally.
what your background is. Please be in touch. Give us a call. Our number is 0733618177, or you can call the WhatsApp number if you're coming from overseas, and talk to us for one of our senior education consultants, and we'll offer you a free initial consultation. No obligations. We can just talk about what's your pathways are.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Bas, can you please tell me which state that you graduated from as well? I'll just read your questions. He's asking, sir, what are the chances of a 30-age PhD last year student to get global talent? Currently has 4 international publication journals and 1 patent.
Wow.
Biotechnology engineering, but doesn't have any media articles. Or he graduated from India, must be currently in India. Regarding the research, will that be a problem? Is there any pathway for recent PhD graduates?
Look, when they initially offered this global talent stream, one of the streams you could just be a PhD graduate, or within the recent graduation, like within 6 months, just before the completion, you could apply. There is no legal instruments saying that you cannot apply anymore, but with our experience, what I'm seeing is if you don't have enough industry experience and other background information, you might not be able to apply for global talent just because you completed a PhD. But what good things I'm seeing from your explanation, you have a patent. So how good, complicated, and
how can that benefit Australia? I think that's what we need to focus on.
That's what we need to focus on.
So just
exactly.
do a little piece on your research and what you're currently doing, and how do you think that will benefit Australia? If you could please send that to us together with your CV, we will have a look at it and we can comment on whether we believe you have a chance through GTI.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we don't charge for that service. We will do a free assessment of your qualification and what you're doing, and happy to suggest. I think we are nearly done. We just have to go through the employer-sponsored stream, which we covered mostly. But as we are seeing some great incentives for employer-sponsored visas, the number of places are going up significantly for next financial year. They're talking about breaking it down to 3 streams, and the whole TSS visa is going to be called skilled in demand visa, and there's going to be new or updated occupation lists based on the current demand that Australia has. And they're talking about reducing work experience requirement for subclass 482 as well as the requirement for subclass 186.
By the end of the year, it'll be coming down from 2 years to 1 year.
Yeah.
So qualification 1 year, you into 482 is if you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you.
So, but my suggestion is, if you currently have an employer and if they're willing to sponsor, and if your occupation is currently on one of the demand lists, please go with that 482 visa right now, because with the new changes, our biggest concern is we are not certain which occupations are going to remain in the list and which list it is going to be, and what is the salary requirement going to be depending on where your occupation is going to be. So a lot of uncertain areas. But right now, if you're certain that you are eligible and your employer is willing to assist you, I think you should get that 482 visa done, because if you do that, then in 2 years time, regardless, you will be eligible for subclass 186 through temporary resident transition stream, which is your permanent residency.
Okay,
So-
I think that's bringing us to the end of the day. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being
we do
in
have our
the.
free session next Wednesday in Wollongabba. So
So if you're in Brisbane, if you have a migration issue, come and talk to us 101. It's more like what we do with live
but
program.
we are
But if
going
you're
to
in
be sitting
Brisbane,
there
we'll
talking
be
to you.
there talking to you 101. Come and talk to us. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no obligations. You can do whatever the plan, but we want to make sure we support you through your pathway. We here to help you with or guide you through the proper migration advice for
All
your
right,
path.
thank you so much for listening in, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks' time.
See you then. Take care. God bless you all.